What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Saeed TV. I hope everybody's having a good and wonderful start to their Tuesday day. Um, and yeah, man, we are doing another show. We were finished yesterday on the Anthony situation. I thought to myself, you know what? That'll be it for today. There won't be no more briefs. There won't be no more humming and harings and all of that stuff and all of that jazz. But listen, it doesn't happen at Manchester United. It doesn't really happen at Manchester United. It doesn't, people. It continues and it continues and it continues. That's what Manchester United done. It's a revolving door. It's almost like it's a machine. Manchester United are a machine in terms of producing news. You can never stop with producing news about Man United. You literally can't. So we sell news, we create headlines, and that's what Manchester United do. And big up to Stephanie, big up to everyone who got me 71k, literally like that. What, in a day? I got to 71k. You know what I mean? So big up to everybody who's done that. I appreciate everybody. Please do smash the like button on the video. We are going to be talking about Sancho. We are going to talk about Anthony. We got some news that Amrabat has got a back injury. Can you believe that? Hoyland, back injury. Bayendir apparently had a back injury. And now Amrabat might have a back injury. Are we a joke? Like, what is it? I don't know if it's just Manchester United and their transfer negotiations. Is that people's backs start to hurt because the amount of oh my god. I don't know. I don't know. But this is an interactive show. Please do get your questions in. Any super chats, any questions. Like I said, we will be answering everything. And make sure you guys are liking the video. But let's get on to the Sancho situation, because what happened yesterday was there was a lot of briefs from the press. So the Telegraph got involved, the Daily Mail started to get involved. There's a lot of people that got involved yesterday. They started to bring their version of the events. And by the way, people, none of this could be true. What the media like to do is they like to spin things, and they want you to believe a narrative of this has happened and that has happened. But it's probably the best way of engaging or understanding what's going on behind the scenes. They know they have their sources, but everyone's trying to create their own headline. So that's why I think for me, I want to understand everything and deep dive into the situation. So um, from the Telegraph, we were told by Telegraph Ducker in his report yesterday that Ten Hag is bitterly disappointed by Sancho's actions, given the lengths which he has gone to try to help kickstart his career since taking over as United manager. So, for those that don't know, what he means by this is obviously Sancho has been out for what, 3 months last year, and obviously Ten Hag has given him that time to go to actually the Netherlands. Remember, Ten Hag allowed Sancho to train in the Netherlands, where apparently Ten Hag knew of the area he. Yeah, my mic went off there for some reason. But yeah, Ten Hag got him there to train over there. And obviously, the reports coming out now that the Telegraph are saying that Ten Hag is bitterly disappointed by him coming out. But again, it comes back to the question of Ten Hag said what he said first, and obviously he thinks that Sancho wasn't going to say anything back, which again, you all know I don't agree with. I think Sancho has the right to say what he's got to say, but in Ten Hag eyes, I understand where you're coming from. If you believe you've put an arm around the shoulder of Sancho and you've told him, listen, I've given you time here. I've given you ample time to kind of put this around. I've given you ample time to rediscover your form. I've believed in you. Obviously, I can't just play you for the sake of playing you, just because maybe there's an emotional story behind it or whatnot. And I want to be the one that maybe is a reason why you get back to your form. No, football's a ruthless game. And when you deep it, Sancho has to be better than Anthony. He has to be better than Rashford. He has to be better than Garnacho now. He has to be better than Pelestri now. Yeah, you have to be better than someone. Martial, even in that kind of forward kind of line. You have to be better than all. Even if Bruno Fernandes on the right hand side might play in a big game, more than Sancho. So what does that tell you about Sancho's position in the squad or where he feels for me he's not getting enough game time? You see where I'm coming from? Anyway, we'll get more into it anyway as we go along. So he carries on here. He says, frustration with Sancho's attitude and application in training reached a point to this week where Ten Hag and his backroom staff felt it would be wrong to include him against Arsenal. Wow. You know how damning this is, guys? Let me just put this down for a second. You know how damning that is when you look at the fact that we had Dan Gore on the bench. We had, what's his name? Hannibal on the bench. You know, this is damning for Sancho. This guy is a player who's been playing since 17. This is a guy who has been playing in Champions League nights. This is a guy who is playing at the biggest level. And he was told here, if I go back to it, that they reached a point where Ten Hag and his backers felt it would be wrong to include him. We're not even talking about starting him. We're not even talking about playing him. We're talking about a situation here where he's not even in the squad and he's been told to stay in Manchester. Stay in Manchester. You know how damning that is, people? I think for me that's damning. And you know what? That's why I think Sancho had the urge to kind of maybe say what he had to say. And you know what? Feel like, you know what? I had to come out and defend my name. I can't take this onslaught. I don't like the fact that you've called me out to be I'm a bad trainer. And then obviously you've dropped me out of the squad as well. That's two things Sancho will almost be hurt. His pride will be hurting right now. His pride will be absolutely gone. It'll be gone, people. His pride right now is on the floor. First of all, you're one of the most expensive players we've ever bought in this football club. You came with the hype. Man United chased you for 2 years. And now it's got to the point now where you're not even coming into the squad because you're trailing. That's crazy, people. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I'm going to get to a couple of your comments here before I go. Sancho needs to be loaned out in January to bump up a fee as sold in the summer. Sancho said similar things about Sancho in the England setup. Yeah, you know what? He did. He did. Eric Ten Hag is finding out he isn't as elite in his own mind. That's another thing as well. Sancho, I don't listen. I would never ever tell someone to think differently to what I perceive of them. So I wouldn't want to say, you know what, you are not that player or you are not that footballer. Like, don't you know what I mean? Like, if in a mind, someone's always gonna feel the way they feel. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna get. So in your mind, people, yeah, someone's gonna always feel the way they feel. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like for me, we shouldn't take that away from a player because that will be his own kind of. I don't know. I feel like that'll be something that he holds on to as hope. And I feel like, especially for an attacker right now, Sancho will believe he's the best winger at the football club. Sancho, when you look at it, in my eyes, is probably the most technically gifted footballer in the Man United team. When you actually deep it, guys, put your biases aside, put your agendas aside, yeah. Sancho is still, for me, one of the most technically gifted footballers at Manchester United right now. But you know what they say in life? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard enough. It's the old listen. You can have the most talent in the world, but if you don't work hard enough, and again, I'm not disputing that Sancho hasn't worked hard enough. I'm not saying that because I don't know what happens in training. But if you don't work hard enough, talent don't mean anything. Talent doesn't mean anything. And that goes for everything in life. If you don't have the hard work to kind of balance the talent, then everything's just going to go downhill. You're not going to be consistent. You don't work. You don't get you don't get to train early. You don't do certain things in the background. You don't have, I don't know, rehabilitation program. You don't have a relaxation program. You don't have I don't know. Nutrition's not on point. There's so many things that I feel like for me with Ten Hag around football is maybe what's stopping him doing it. Whether it's a lifestyle, I don't know. I'm trying to think of things. Whether it's a lifestyle, whether it's the people around him, whether he's got good friends around him. You don't know yet. And this is all part of how you become a successful footballer. Sometimes you've got to block people out. You've got to have a small circle. Sometimes you've got to have a small circle. In this day and age now, it's not maybe good to have a million friends because they all want something from you. So I'm just looking at it from that point of view of has Sancho done enough to maximize his career at Man United? And these are the finer details to be an elite athlete. And I'm not saying he has to be a Ronaldo. I'm not saying he has to be a Messi, but to be an elite athlete now, you've got to go above and beyond. You've got to go to the next level, the maximum level. And if you're not doing that, then this is where the manager, in his eyes, will feel like you're not doing. And obviously, he gets one inclination, or one rumor, or one story from one of the staffs that feel like, because I was with Ahmad, yeah, Ahmad Diallo, for example. I was with him in the program, and we were talking about the training program, and he was telling us about, United have got this program, he's got to do in that program, and he was just so determined to get it done, And obviously, Ahmad, if it wasn't for the injury, he'd probably be in the team right now. But you got to remember, these guys are under strict measures. They've got to do individual programs. They've got to do certain things. And I'm not saying Sancho hasn't done that, but if in Ten Hag eyes he hasn't done it, then that's where the kind of sticking point becomes. So big up to everybody who's here, by the way. 1.1K. Make sure you are liking the video, people. And guys, like I said to you, get your comments in, get your whatever, And yeah, man, let's have a chat. Biggie Third said, let's not pretend Sancho wouldn't have been dragged mercilessly on social media after what Eric Ten Hag said if he didn't respond. Eric Ten Hag put the issue out. This is why, again, people talk about mental health and people talk about abuse online, and it suits people's narratives. Oh, you know what? One day we're all going to be like Dele Alli. I feel for Dele Alli. I feel for him, what he's gone through. I should not have said what I said. And then the next day, we're then abusing them online, or we're saying this and we're saying that without hearing their backstory. I think that's what a lot of people, I think, are being a bit hypocrite. If you're talking about footballing reasons, I understand you, and you know what, you're right to your own opinion, and you're right to your own criticism. But with this situation here, I don't blame Ten Hag for what he did. I don't blame him. If he said what he had to say it. But I think for me, if Sancho, he has the right to defend himself. That's the way I kind of look at it. And obviously, now we're hearing all these reports that we will get into, by the way, is that there is more, it's deeper than that. It goes deeper than that. There are more stories coming out as to what's going on. We're carrying on. It was clear on Monday night what exactly Sancho was referring to when he claimed there were other reasons behind his omission. So, Ten Hag and his team are probably thinking, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Like, what are you trying to say? Because remember, the Sancho situation, in his statement, he did say there were other reasons as to why I was being labeled or put as a scapegoat. There's other reasons why, as the factor, as to why I possibly didn't play. And obviously, the briefings have come out that United are probably briefing, obviously, the press and whatnot. And they're saying, you know what? We don't know what you're on about. We don't know what you're on about. What are you waffling about? You're not training well, and that's it. It's nothing personal. But obviously, again, there's two sides to the story. And this is what kind of hurts me as a United fan is that how has it come to this? Sancho should have been sold in the summer because for me, you can tell his mind wasn't there. And just in general, I think Ten Hag never signed him. So the best reason was to actually just say, you know what, let's just move on. Let's just move on as a fan base to say, you know what, it's done. Everyone, we've just got rid of the Greenwood situation. We're now entering the Anthony situation, which again is even more sickening than than this. So it's like you deal with one problem and then you go to another. It's like, when does it end, Robbie? When will it end? When will it end? That's the way I kind of look at it. Zuberi, big up, bro. He says here, keep up, fam. Eric Ten Hag can't stand the sight of Sancho's fade and crisp hairline. Eric Ten Hag deflected from the defensive woes and idiot goalkeeper. That's a bit harsh. Free Sancho, and obviously he's referring to Liverpool there, which I won't comment. Listen, first of all, my keeper isn't an idiot, so Zuberi, relax with your comments there. And B, listen, I don't know. I don't think it's down to appearance and whatnot. Like Ten Hag for me will be looking at his football ability, and I look at it and I realize, yeah, he should not have said it. I reckon Ten Hag was emotional. Zuberi, I think you're right. Ten Hag at that time after the game, his head's hot. We've just lost to Arsenal in the last minute. We should have had a penalty. We should have had an offside goal ruled offside and whatnot. Like his head's hot, so he was a bit emotional, and ultimately, it is what it is. What could you do? He said what he said. AA says, I criticize Ten Hag on our progress, but I won't be here defending a player who hasn't performed since he moved it. And this is what doesn't help Sancho. You know what? If this was Bruno Fernandes, everyone would be like, what? What's going on? There's two sides to the story. And again, I'm not saying there's not two sides to the story, Sancho. But what doesn't help Sancho is that he's not performed for 2 years. It's not performed. So everyone's going to be like, well, hold on a minute. You're not performing anyway. So the manager's probably right in what he's saying. That's where everything doesn't help. Doesn't help Sancho. We move. This is Chris Wheeler from the from the Daily Mail. So he's linked with Man United. He gets a lot of sources right from Manchester United, and has done so for the past couple of years. But he says here, Eric Ten Hag's preference for starting Anthony on the right wing is believed to be one of Sancho's gripes with Eric Ten Hag. So, guys, are we not going to say? Are we not going to say here on here? Let's not be disingenuous, guys. Ten Hag brought Anthony. Ten Hag brought Anthony for a lot of money. Let's not beat around the bush. He bought him for a lot of money. Are we guys saying, guys, yeah, that Ten Hag doesn't have favourites? I think he does. But I don't think it's bad to have favourites. Because if the favourites are performing, then it's fair enough. It's all well and good. But what about if the favourites aren't performing, people? That's where my sticking point is. What if the favourites that Eric Ten Hag is talking about here, what if the favourites aren't playing well? That's where it gets a bit sticky. What if the favourites aren't playing well? And Anthony, for me, hasn't justified the price tag. He hasn't justified him starting every week. And I get maybe as to why Sancho feels aggrieved. But the key question is, he is the manager. He makes the decisions. You've got to put your head down and prove him wrong. That's by getting goals. That's by getting assists. That's by playing better than Anthony. And I get it. He probably has played better than Anthony when he's come off the bench in pre-season. When he's kind of been in certain games, you can see he looks after the ball better. He links up play better. He probably makes us a better team than what Anthony does. But again, you can't show that by being aggrieved. You can't do that, especially not against Ten Hag. Ten Hag is so militant. This guy doesn't do emotion. You can tell, like, most of the time, he's got a straight face. Most of the time, he's got a straight face on. He hasn't got this, okay, he can be happy, but he's very, very militant. He's very, very on point. Like, he won't say, oh, and explain himself by going around somewhere or going around a corner. He'll explain it in about 3 or 4 words. I want you to do more. I want you to do this. You must do this. And it might not be what Sancho's used to. He might be used to someone putting an arm around his shoulder. He might be used to kind of explaining it in a different way. But Sancho needs to understand that this is the name of the game. You haven't got much time here, to be honest with you. I'll be real with you. You haven't got an abundance of time. You've got a time here where, you know what? you need to now perform. Like every minute is probably your last minute because you don't know when you're next going to play. So you've got to perform. And it is very, very, but then you get paid a lot of money. It is, when you look at it, it must be draining knowing that you're playing well and you're not getting picked or selected next game. But you know what? This is football, mate. This is the football. What can you do? You've got to just be on point. You've got to be ready. When you get an opportunity, take it. If Man United won 3-1, there would be no Sancho comment. Well, of course, football's a wonderful thing. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. I get it. I get it. Get some of your comments before I kind of keep going on, people. I even see people comparing players that don't play in the same position just to defend Sancho. You guys claim Chelsea in a crisis, but the truth is United who are in a crisis. Basically agree with Sancho, Maguire, Mount, and now Anthony. Problems FC. Listen, it's not problems to your level, but you still got problems as well. But I get you. I get you. Ten Hag is gone, bro. Won't last 2 months. Damn. Saeed, inshallah, we get Kvaratskhelia, big man, Victor, and Qatari news. I hope so. Big up to Dex. He says, I'm a United fan. I think the manager should have thrown his players under the bus. We're only excusing it because it's Sancho. Free Sancho. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Free Sancho. It's crazy. It's crazy. See, I'm not even on that situation right there. I'm not on free Sancho and I'm not on Ten Hag's neck. I'm not on either. I just want there to be I just want it to be done amicably. I want this to be resolved behind closed doors. I don't. Why do we need to have Player FC? Or why do we need to have the manager back the manager and back this? It doesn't have to be anything. They're both. A is a Man United player, and one is a Man United manager. This shouldn't be talked about in the open. It shouldn't be a situation where again we have the media being the judges. Why should it be that every single time Twitter or social media is a judge of everything? I've noticed that it was with Ten Hag, it was with Greenwood, it was with this situation with now Anthony coming into play. It's all just like a mess. Like every single situation, it's like the fans have to decide how they feel, and and if they feel that way, they're now going to have this agenda against another player. It's like I just don't get it. I really don't get it. But anyway, we're going to move on. Let's move on, people. Let's move on. Um, this is one here. So Eric Bay's gone down over there. This one here says just in. This is from yesterday around 11:40. So they're getting briefs quite late, you know. It's actually quite mad. But it says here, some people inside Manchester United are debating whether Sancho would play for the club again after this statement yesterday. So some people in Manchester United are debating whether Sancho would play for the club again after his statement yesterday. It comes down to this though. Where does he go from here now when you actually deep it, people? Because the Turkish market is open. The Turkish market is still open. I don't think Manchester United have any reason to sell him now. We're already light in numbers. There's always injuries coming into play. Where would he go now? I don't think him as a person would drop down a level to go to a Turkish league. Even though Galatasaray are in the Champions League, funny enough, in our group. Fenerbahce, Fred's over there. You know, the situation's over there. Would he go there for 6 months? Or would he go there for 3 months? He doesn't even have to stay for 6 months. He can stay there on loan for 3 months and then come back in January and then be sold to another club. That could happen. So I don't know if his ego and his pride would take that, like dropping down a level. A, you've not performed for the past 2 years. And B, you're then now almost second fiddle, you know what I mean, to so many players. I don't think his ego would take it. I really don't. It's now or never. It's like I want to prove. It's almost like when you've got an exam and it's what 3 weeks left to your exam. Sancho's playing like that now. That's what he's on. He's on borrowed time now. Unfortunately, he is on borrowed time. If he's not sold in January, he's sold in the summer. And I can guarantee you that will be it. I don't see any future for Sancho, especially after this. But I thought his future was probably going to be finished. I said one more season, and that is probably it. I don't think he survives. I really, really don't. I don't think it's worked for him. And you know what? You move on amicably, and I wish you every good luck, and you move on to a different club. Who knows? The manager might not be here, and the manager might be sacked before then. We don't know. Football's a crazy, crazy sport. But right now, Ten Hag has credit in the bank. Ten Hag had a good season in his first season. He finished third. Ten Hag has credit in the bank. My friend, you don't have any credit in the bank. My friend, you don't. I'm sorry. Listen, I love you, Sancho, but you don't. For 2 years, you have not performed to the standard of Manchester United. It's as simple as that. Whether people can mince it and be like, you know what, whenever he's played good. Whenever he's done this, listen, it's not been consistent. That's the main thing. It's not been consistent. I never want to put wages into it. I don't care about wages. Wages is what Man United got wrong. It's not what the fans got wrong. So at the end of the day, I can't criticize a player for his wages. I can say beforehand, don't give him that much money because I think that means then it will affect his performance. But that wages is obviously something that a lot of fans are now sticking on, saying, you know what, you're not performing. Look at the wages that you've been given. You're not performing, bro. You're not performing. Oh, guys, there's 1,500 of you in the chat right now. Please hit the like button. It's the only way we're going to hit the algorithm. You know what I mean? So, guys, there's 262 likes. Shame on you. You might have moving like Sancho for the past 2 years. Come on, guys. That is very, very poor. Get them likes up. Get them likes up. There's only 261 likes. Get them likes up. Don F says, Saeed, here's a solution. Sancho apologizes. Club have to suspend the right winger due to allegations. Palestri and Sancho more game time. See, I don't think he's going to back down. I don't think Sancho's going to back down. He may apologize, but I think he'll do it in a way where he will say, after discussing my issue with the manager, I was probably wrong to come out and say what I said. But in the heat of the moment, I said it because I felt a different type of way. But now, having reflected upon it, I now fully am supportive of what the manager needs of me. See that? See that? Yo, listen, I'm telling you now, man, this I can already understand what the apology will be. You know what I'm saying? So this is what this is what this is what they do, man. And it's like it's almost like a script. You know what they're gonna say. You know what they're gonna say. It's just like a script, people. So again, it's just one of them where you don't know what to believe nowadays, do you? Big up to King Stash. He says here, the club is anti-technique and composure. We are road runners. Haram football. Our best players are lazy. The ones who play are just not elite and have a weak mentality. I disagree on certain aspects of what you said. I think there are strong personalities in there, strong, strong mentality. You got Casemiro, strong mentality. You got Varane, strong mentality. Lisandro Martinez, strong mentality. Onana, strong mentality. So there are players who have the strong mentality, but there are players, like I said to you, that it is more suited to the counter-attacking football. That no matter what they do, they will always play because of the fact that what they can do off the ball, and also what they can do in terms of what the manager wants in that transition football. Rashford probably doesn't play well for half of the time he's on the pitch. He doesn't. But what he does do is he gives you output. That's what Sancho does. He gives you output. And people can't really hate on that for some reason. Or you can almost give it oblige and be like, you know what? Well, fair enough. He had a goal. But it gets to the point now where we need players performing also. We need players performing in terms of goals, but we also need players performing in terms of just output. Like everything needs to be together. Why can't we? Why do we have to have one or the other? Why? Why is it one or the other? Why can't it be both? This is Manchester United. And again, it is Man United by name, but it still has to be and have to have that mentality that you must perform at the highest level. Simple as that. But we'll move on, guys. Let's move on. Let's move on. Right. Sources in the Middle East have played down the possibility of Saudi pro clubs making a bid for Sancho before their transfer window closes on Thursday. So, sources in the Middle East played down the possibility of Saudi pro clubs making a bid for Sancho before their transfer window closes on Thursday. This is what happened. Big up to Planet Vaz in the chat. Big up to you, my bro. Says the only way I see him going over there is maybe Steven Gerrard maybe say, you know what, come over to the Saudi league, and you know what, I'll tempt you with the biggest money possible. That's the only reason he probably will go there. Is probably he goes to Al Ittifaq, where you've got Jordan Henderson and you've got Saudi league. They will pay his wages. They will pay his wages in full. If Man United can get a loan there and they pay his wages in full, that would be a good solution for all parties. But again, I don't think Sancho wants to go to the Saudi league. I don't think so. He was already homesick, or he didn't already feel the Manchester lifestyle in the first season. Saudi's a whole different league. You can't drink there. Oh well, you can't drink in it's definitely public, or you know, what I mean, you could probably drink in your own home or whatnot, but you can't have the lifestyle. Would I say of the English league? There's no clubs there. There's no, there's no situations where you can feel like you can play that lifestyle anymore. You can't do that. You can't have your friends coming over there and it's bare this and that. Like you can't. You have to respect the culture. So then you have to fit everything around where it is in Saudi Arabia. Will Sancho do that? That's a different question. That's up to him. Whatever he wants to do, that's up to him in that regards. Have you decided where you're going to go on vacation? Not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet, my bro. Um, but yeah, listen, I think for me, it's very, very damaging where this goes. I don't think so. Keisha, when you tell me, I don't know what you're about there. Saeed Sancho will got Chelsea. He's a Chelsea fan and he's a profile Chelsea. These are the wings to create chances because the club can't doesn't create different varieties of chances. Also, Poch uses as a 10. He may use them as a 10. This is what the manager is still probably not found his best position. He played him in false nine. This is another thing that I don't get as well. Sancho must be confused. He played false nine all preseason, and he had his best performances in a Man United shirt. And I get it, it's preseason, but I'm looking at the premise. Sancho had all preseason playing well in a false nine position. What if he was told you'll be playing that false nine position this season until Hoyland gets back? What if he was giving guarantees? What if he was giving more guarantees in playing time as well? And the manager hasn't fulfilled that. What about that? See, again, this is why for me, I can't take any sides until I know the full story. We don't know what the ins and outs are. And this is why, what I mean, the manager can be right all the time, but sometimes he may be wrong in certain aspects, or maybe he has promised something and he hasn't delivered. But then again, the pressures of the sport and the pressures of football, I don't blame Ten Hag for saying, you know what, I've changed my mind now, or I've changed this, or I've had to adapt to this. He's the manager. He can adapt as much as he wants. He can adapt how many times he wants. He's the manager. It's him that's going to get sacked, not you. You ain't getting sacked unless you get sold, or unless you do something crazy, which I don't know. Did he? Is this a situation where now Man United just say, you know what, we're gonna cash in on you, and we're gonna probably take a loss on you because it's just got to a situation where it's become untenable. So, you know what? Tough luck, man. This is the sport, man. This is football. Let me carry on. Right, let's carry on. Let's carry on. Make sure you guys are still liking the video. Ten Hag feels badly let down by Jadon Sancho. Again. This is where, for me, it's very, very sticky. I get it, you're let down. But then again, you said what you said, and he defended himself. And it's like, it's very, very difficult to kind of understand and gauge where you go next. Like, what does he feel let down by? The fact that he probably said more than what he had to say? Or does he feel let down by the fact that he put a statement out? What does he feel let down by? So, and again, to play devil's advocate, because that's what we have to do on here, Sancho will probably feel let down by Ten Hag for saying what he said in public. After backing it for so long, he's saying it in public. Again, this situation is very, very sad. Why has it got to this situation where both parties feel a different way about each other, and there's a miscommunication in that regards? King Stash says here, big up to you, King Stash says, will we ever get to see Martial, Rashford, and Sancho play together? The trio had so much potential, but one is usually injured. The other one thinks he's CR7, and the other one is considered lazy and childish. Bro, after what I've seen of Martial in the past couple of games, I don't really think there is a future for Martial, and I don't think he can give us anything. To be honest with you, what can Martial give you? What can he really give you? Let's be honest, man. What is Martial going to give you? I think he's, for me, tipping over to be borderline. You know what I mean? Not the same player. He's not the same player anymore. I can say it categorically. He's not the same player anymore. So I don't think we'll ever see that. And I think Rashford, for me, I think he likes to play with certain players. We need to find out if Rashford can play with Hoyland because, bro, this guy's greedy, man. Rashford is very, very greedy. You need to pass the ball. The amount of times where he needed to pass the ball and he didn't. Let's see how Rashford deals now with Hoyland on the pitch because a different profile. It's not Vegos anymore. It's not Ronaldo anymore. It's not Martial anymore, which you may think that you're better than him anymore. So let's see what he does with Hoyland now because you've got to be a team player now. Um, guys, there's now let me just check 383 likes, guys. 500 in the next 5 minutes. Let's get up to 500 likes, people, in the next 5 minutes. Big up to the community. Uh, so Sancho and Ten Hag are set to hold talks during the international break, although it's unclear the player will be fined for his social media posts for claiming to be a scapegoat. Let me ask you a question, guys. Yeah, should Sancho be fined for speaking out against the manager? Let me ask you a question. Should Sancho be fined for making a statement? This is a very, very open and honest question. Should he be fined? Should he be fined, people? I just want to see what the comments are saying. Yes or no? I should probably put a poll, but let me ask the question. No. Yes. 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 No. No. Of course. Yes. He should. He should. Okay. No. I think there's more yeses than nos, to be honest with you. Is there more yeses than nos? Yeah, yeah, there's more yeses, yeah. Well, there you go then. That answers your question, and obviously it comes down to your opinion. For me personally, whatever the club feel they need to do, then they need to do anyway. So but again, I don't think Sancho's losing sleep over getting fined for saying something that he believes in. So I don't think Sancho would care anyway, to be honest with you. He's got enough money. Um, Chelsea considered signing Sancho, but had concern of his mindset and instead went for Cole Palmer. United were open to listening to offers around 45 million. How much of this is true? I don't know because listen, Chelsea are buying anyone. Chelsea are buying anyone. So this is it, people. Here it says here that Chelsea considered signing Cole Palmer. Sorry, signing Jadon Sancho, but had obviously concerns over his mindset and instead went for Cole Palmer instead. Listen, some of it I believe, but I also believe the bit at the end where United were open to selling him. I do believe the rumours, and I do believe there was some substance to that. Sorry, I'm just gonna put my charger in. There was some substance to that, in that people and Chelsea were looking at possibly getting Jadon Sancho. I do believe that. I really, I do believe that. But again, it's one of them situations where, you know, Jadon Sancho, did he want to move? Was he open to the move? You know, he does live in Kennington. Is it no Kensington? He was born and raised in Kensington, which is in the part of Chelsea area, which is in a part of West London. So it is close to where it is, and that's where he grew up in that area. And he's a Chelsea fan as well. So you know what I mean? These are the things that maybe that helped him as a fan in that regards. So he would probably have liked to see that side to him. So yeah, listen, I think for me, it's one of them where Musa's trying to call me. Musa, if you, I'm on the. Let me just message Musa that I'm live. Now these microphones won't hear Musa. Um, Let me just see if he wanted to come online. Let me see 1 second. Yeah, let me call you later. Yeah, say no more. Let me call him later. So yeah, people. So yeah, listen, it's one of them. Oh, he was talking to Sancho's dad. Okay. So Musa was just talking to Sancho's dad. 1 second. Let me just see what he said. Let me see if I let me see if he can reveal what he said. He's fuming. Okay. Sancho's dad is fuming apparently. Come online, come online. Let me send him the link. Let me send Musa the link. Let me send him the link. Let me see if he's willing to come on. But yeah, listen, I don't think for me, I don't think for me, you know, Sancho is looking to get in there. And obviously, his dad is probably going to be fuming people. His dad is going to feel that type of way, you know, and ultimately, you know, he's going to feel his son has been harshly done by. So again, we don't know what's going on in that regard, you know. So we have to wait and see as to what happens with that one. Let's keep on moving further forward because we have still got a lot to discuss as well. Um, yeah, that's probably it on that situation. I think it is. Yeah, there's nothing else that's been developing in that story. But yeah, listen, guys, man. I don't know what happens next. I don't know, people. I don't know what happens next. I don't know what goes on next. I don't know what happens. I don't know who gets what parental treatment will get. It's a long road, people, man. It is a long, long road now. It's you know what? It's probably the worst time to say it as well because you know what it is. Had Sancho for me, people say Musa Romano. You lot are funny, you know. Musa Bomba, Fabrizio Musano. No, I don't think Musa's gonna explain everything that his dad's told him and whatnot. Like, he's not gonna do that, obviously, out of respect for his dad and that. But you know, when you actually deep it, when you actually deep it, had he played the next game, or if there was a next game against Brighton, and they sorted it out during the week, and Sancho was on the training, and he was on it, and he was, you know what, he was upbeat and he was ready, it would have helped him. But now you've got 2 weeks, and in them 2 weeks, he might not even train with the people that are staying behind because of the World Cup. So it's because of the qualifiers, and people are international break. He may not even train with the people that are together in a group. So the likes of Donny van der Beek, the likes of Johnny Evans. Oh, here's Musa. Oh shit! Let me see what he's saying. Yeah, Musa, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I'm not too bad, bro. I'm not too bad. We're just talking about the Jadon Sancho situation and how it's got whatnot and what are you saying, bro?
Oh, yeah, man. Obviously, well, the Sancho situation, I think, has kind of been blown out of proportion. And I think being able to have an
Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
opportunity, yeah, yeah, I think that was someone trying to call me on my side. But yeah, I said obviously you guys been knowing that I'm from South and having insight to Sancho and his team. I feel like one of the biggest, I think one of the things that people are missing is that Sancho had some time off last year. Yeah, if you look at that, he had some time
Yeah,
off,
yeah,
and the time that he had off, no one knows. why he had time off, what the reasons were, but we know that he had time off and the manager gave him time off, etc. Some of that.
He's getting bad calls, man. Turn your notifications off. That's what I do nowadays, man. I don't even put my notifications on.
I don't know how I can switch them off. I just keep on just hanging them up. So yeah, so what I'm saying is early on when Sancho was off last season, a lot of it was connected to his fitness. You saw them sending him out to Holland to train on his own, to get him up to speed. Yep. And there was a lot made out of that. And there was a lot of pictures coming up that he's training on his own, blah, blah, blah. So that also led to this narrative that maybe there is something around, you know, maybe his fitness, his training, all of that, but it's still just something that's out there, which is not clarified. So I think one of the things that people are missing is that, so then when your manager comes out after you've had a great preseason, you know, you've trained well, and it's not that we're saying he had a great preseason. The fans themselves, as a fan base, we all said that, you know, there was about 3 players that had a good preseason. Donny van der Beek was even one of those players that everyone said, "Well, Donny's looking kind of sharp preseason." You know what I'm saying? So we saw that Sancho had a great preseason, or a good one, I should say. And even some of the games that he's featured as a sub coming off the bench, everybody's like, "Rah, Sancho's looking sharp, clean. Why isn't he playing in front of Anthony?" So those are the questions that's been asked.
Yeah.
So then for your manager then to come out and say, there's 3 players or wingers that's trained better than you, and you're not training to that standard. If you leave that, for me, if you leave that untouched, because imagine he didn't say nothing, we would start to now connect all of this to the 3 months he had off. He's not fit. He's had to train on his own. What's going on with that? So then we start to think all of these things. And what people are forgetting is that when a club's done with you, they will terminate your contract. Like look how they did the example. We don't rate Maguire, but Maguire's got a family. He's a professional footballer. Look how the club is dealing with him. Look how they dealt with De Gea. When the club don't want you, there isn't none of this, we're going to look after you, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. They'll just get rid of you. So as a player, you also have to look after your own brand, if you want to say that, if you want to have a long career, especially when you're, 22 years old. So imagine you're 22 years old and, like, you know, the media is ready to build this narrative that you have issues with training. And you're not going to answer that. So I feel like, as a manager as well, that's like me, Saeed, as well. If I know you've had issues with something in the past, the last thing I'm going to do is try to speak about those issues in open-handedly without clarifying them.
But that's where, for me, you know, Ten Hag went with, and it was a gamble, and I don't think it was worth taking. But that's the same way I think Ten Hag backed him in when he did, though. I thought he should have done that the same in that point, because again, the question was brought to Ten Hag. But the thing is, for me, listen, I don't blame Ten Hag saying for what he said, but I don't blame Sancho for defending himself. I'm in the middle. I'm kind of like, everyone said their piece now. So what is the problem? So what is going on? Is it, again, a miscommunication? Or is it, like I said to you, something where the manager feels like he's not doing to a standard and Sancho doesn't understand it? What do you mean standard? Bro, I'm training. Imagine I say to you now, yo, come here, do this, do this, do this. And you're doing it, but you're not doing it to the standard. That's maybe what Ten Hag's talking about. Maybe you're not doing it to the standard of I1. And
I agree with that. I agree to an extent. I agree with what you're saying to an extent. But then we also, how many footballers have we seen say that some of the players like Tevez, they say Tevez was like, he wasn't on job in training. He hardly done anything. But then come match day, there's a load of players who trained a certain way, but come match day, they're on job. And then there's other players who train the best, and then come match day, they're not doing anything. I just feel like with Sancho and also the fan base, a lot of people are like, some people they want Sancho in, some people want Sancho out. He's not done this, he's not. That's all right. But one of the things that I always say is that, for me, Sancho is very similar to Marcus Rashford in terms of that he's got to a height before. The reason, as someone who supports Sancho and wants Sancho to succeed at United, is because I've seen him cook, not in the Bundesliga, in the Champions League. That's the highest standard of European football, is the Champions League. And we've seen him cook at the highest level in the Champions League. So what we're saying to the fan base and people who are supporting Sancho is that we want him to get back to that level. And if Ten Hag is a manager who brings through young talent, who can nurture talent, then he should be in the best hands in terms of bringing someone together. Because a lot of people are like, you should just back the manager, and if he doesn't want to play, you should. I also get that, but I'm like, Real Madrid, Barcelona, they know how the team wants to play. They have a philosophy of how the club plays. They bring players in and they give them the best. Like Ancelotti, he's been given, like, he's got Tchouaméni, he's got Camavinga, he's got Bellingham. You think a manager can just come in and start saying, I don't want Tchouaméni, I don't want Bellingham, I don't want, like, get the best out of these players. I get if these players were not like at a certain standard or they've never played at that standard. I think you have more right to say that about an example as well. And that's not to beat down on Anthony, but I just say to myself, Anthony's a player that we bought for 100 million euros and he's never hit a standard. There is no stats in European football to say that Anthony's a person that can give you 12 assists, 15 goals. There ain't a stat in European football that show you that he can do that. We're hoping he can get that. So that's why a manager can come in and say, well, hold on, this player's never really...
He might get locked up as well. He's another player that might be gone as well in the future, man. It's peak, man. I'm gonna get through super chats 1 second, Musa. Simon Paul says Chelsea signed long contract, but they wouldn't sign Sancho on 375 grand a week. Who would take that salary on? And big up to King Stash, man. I appreciate the donation. He goes, remember how Sancho destroyed Chelsea and Liverpool at home, scored the first goal of the Ten Hag era. We all know Sancho in the middle on the right is world class. I don't know about world class, but I get you. If it was Sancho on the left, he'd have made that pass to Højlund, unlike Marcus Rashford. You know what? You know what it is, yeah? I feel like for me, when he said, yeah, in the comments, in the statement, he said, there's other reasons as to what's going on. And he goes, I feel made a scapegoat and etc. Yeah. I think he's more pissed off about him not getting a start over certain players and rather than what he's saying about the training. I get it. He feels like, yo, what do you mean training? I've been training. But more so his frustrations are coming out of that. I know I'm better than the guys that you're putting on, like Anthony, for example. And again, Anthony's a guy that Ten Hag had. So I don't blame Ten Hag having him as a favour, but I'm saying then Sancho will feel aggrieved that he's playing better than Anthony. So he feels like, you know what, man, I should be ahead of these man.
Of course, again, I think that 100%.
One of them.
You saw Donny van der Beek throwing chewing gum on the floor or something last time when he was put on the bench or when he was kicking out and he was angry. I'm just saying players get angry and some players bring out their frustrations in different ways. Was it the best way to have an open, like, not like any fight in the public is always long, even when it's brothers, like, no brothers, listen, keep it in house, don't fight in the public. But my thing is this, as a manager, you've got, for me, and I keep on saying it, Sancho, Rashford had a bad season and everyone was like, so Rashford, and he was only 24 years old. Rashford came back at 25 years old and had one of his best footballing seasons in his whole career. We're saying Sancho is 22 years old, or just turned 23. He was like golden boy in terms of European football. When they spoke about some of the best footballers in the world, we didn't get Sancho just because he was British, bruv. We got him on the basis of what he was doing. Like, come on, guys, we're kind of like Sancho wasn't cooking. Something's happened in that period of time, and he's going through a bad patch. That's okay. Every player can go through a bad patch. But what you're meant to do, you're meant to get behind that player. One of the things that I might excuse Erik Ten Hag at is that English isn't his first language, and he's very blunt in how he speaks. Like, he's not able to sometimes kind of, he's not able to...
He's too blunt. He's too blunt sometimes. He doesn't maybe say it in a way that Sancho might understand. He says it like very, very firm, like, yo, do this, do that, do this. He wouldn't tell you, like, explain it. Like when I've been into work sometimes, and I remember I went to my first job at Pizza Hut, and I remember I was in the back and the guy put me straight into making pizzas. And I was like, bro, like, are you not going to explain what to do? No, you're going to learn by watching people. And I'm going to tell you simple instructions. And bro, I left after a week, man. I said, yo, listen, I need you to tell me properly. And obviously, I'm not trying to compare it to Sancho, but is he kind of thinking, man, I need to kind of, Explain to me in a different way. You're just
Me
too
even
blunt,
that.
man.
You know what he's saying? I believe like someone like Sancho, and I'm going to say it again. Sancho left English football at the age of what, 17 years old, to go to
17,
Borussia
yeah.
Dortmund. He left
Yeah.
English football. He was at Man City, one of the biggest teams in English football at the time. Man City might be not the biggest club, but one of the biggest teams, winning stuff, doing stuff. He
Yeah.
saw that to get into those positions, they were already world-class players there, and maybe the footballing time wouldn't be there for him
Yeah.
to progress
Yeah.
as a player. So he went out of his own comfort zone to go to a foreign country where you don't know the people, don't know the language, to prove yourself at a level to show people that you're really that business. So he's not afraid to be out of his comfort zone. He's not afraid of adversity, but he wants to know that but with adversity, you have to have light at the end of the tunnel. You have to know that if I put work in, yeah, and I do my thing, there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm going to be able to perform and show what I'm capable of doing. For whatever reason, he hasn't had that run in the team under Ten Hag. He hasn't had that run for whatever reason. But the thing is, I would get it if Anthony was just on fire. If Anthony's on fire, Rashford's on fire, Martial's on fire.
Get it. Yeah.
You have to keep quiet.
Yeah. That's what I believe the sticking point is. The other players are not on fire, and that's where it goes on now. But listen, I do want to wrap up in the next 5 minutes here. But where does this go now? Like, where do we move now? Because obviously, I know you know Sancho's people and whatnot. Where do you think he goes now? Where do you think his mindset is, and the kind of maybe advice that he's been given now? Like, do you think it's his times are numbered, or do you think it can be sorted?
I don't think his time's numbered. I think like I said, he's dealt with adversity and he can deal with adversity. But I feel like if he's not given a fair crack at the whip, somebody like, remember, he's not Harry Maguire, who's not going to get a chance to play, and 30 million bid comes in and you don't want to leave. He's Donny van der Beek saying, listen, I feel good. I'm ready to go somewhere and play now. If I'm not going to get the crack here, because these people like Donny, Sancho, even Rashford, when people were saying, when Rashford had a bad season and he started entertaining PSG, they believe in themselves. They're not here to just like not progress their careers. There's players like McTominay that we've seen, bids have come in and you're not moving. And you're what, 27, 26, 27 years old. What are you doing with your career? Like football's a very short time. Like, it's a very short career. So if Sancho's given the opportunity and it's made clear that you're going to have an opportunity, he's going to put his head down and grind. But if it's also made clear that we're going to do the what's my man doing at the England, picking Maguire and flipping Calvin Phillips.
Southgate.
If he's going to start doing the Southgate thing where man's not even playing, but they're still getting in ahead of you, I would see him moving because I know he's ambitious. I'm not saying he would move because he wants to leave United, but he would definitely move if, I believe, from looking at the past and looking at his history, if he's not given a fair chance at it, if he's not able to just work hard and then get a chance at it, because he's an ambitious young player. And when you're ambitious, you believe that you'll go away at another team and he'll turn up. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a player, not to say, but somewhat, look at the season Inter Milan had when Lukaku was on fire. Sancho will go to a team like Inter Milan and cook and bring him back.
But you know what it is though? I think for me, if this doesn't work out for him, he will have to leave, man. And unfortunately, that's the situation, man, where you know what? It may not, this might be the wrong, right player, wrong time, man. That's what I look at Sancho. Right player, wrong time.
Yeah, but looking at
we brought him in a team where he had Ronaldo up front. The team was so disjointed. So again, I'm not excusing his performances, but right player, wrong time. That's the way I kind of look at it.
All from the beginning, that he came in as our right winger, number 7, and then all of a sudden Ronaldo came in.
2 years, bro. 2 years. Everybody was watching comms. Everyone was raving about Sancho. But then obviously you come to Man United and everyone fails. Look at bloody thingy, man. Pogba.
This is what they've done about Pogba, all of these players. Yeah, Pogba, Di Maria, and they go on to make them look like they're bad players. But Di Maria went on to cook in PSG. He went on to cook. People go on and do stuff.
United's cursed, man. United's cursed, bro. I'm telling you, man. Someone's, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. There's someone Habardras, man.
You've got this clown on TalkSport. What's his name? Simon Jordan talking about that. Sancho's just not ready for the United level. He's not ready to play at the level United. And I said to myself, what is this level you're talking about? What is the level, Saeed? What is this level when we're talking about Ward-Prowse will get into this United team? What is this level?
What Prowse, bro? I'm telling you now, man. He'd do a better job than half of these players in the thingy,
Yeah,
man.
what is this
Crazy.
level? There is no level. What level are you talking about? The level of having flipping Harry Maguire and my man in defence.
Evans. Yeah.
And
It's peak.
Evans.
That's what I'm saying. It's peak.
It's the level you're talking about. We're on -2 goal difference.
Yeah, don't depress us now, man. Let's just end this show now, man. King Stash, big up to you for coming a member, man. Let's stop saying like we was going so well and then you just depressed me now, man. But anyway, here is some good news. I want to end it on good news. Amrabat isn't injured. People are saying Amrabat is injured. Apparently, he's not injured. He's been training for the past 2 sessions. Apparently, he had 2 sessions and he trained today as well. And he's been regular as well there. And then we got a whole new monologue of Evans talking about how he's proud to come back to Man United. Get out of here, man. Get out of here. But yeah, listen, we'll find out. Obviously, Musa, we'll catch you on a Mandem talk tomorrow. Obviously, we'll talk about it in more detail as well. But listen, man, it's going to be a very, very interesting 2 weeks, man, on this situation here. And the Anthony situation is a mad one as well, man. Bro, we're talking about Sancho. Sancho's a disagreement between the manager. Yeah. You see, Anthony, boy, man, we just got over the situation.
This is one thing that people have to understand. Man United have just set a new precedent, and the precedent is this: you can be trialed by public opinion and not get to play for us again, because we're going to talk about the Mason Greenwood because it's so similar but different at the same time. But you can get found, you can have all cases dropped, all charges dropped against you. Not be found guilty of anything and still be told you got to leave the club. That's the new precedents we've set. You don't have to be guilty at Man United to be told where the door is. You just have to have a public opinion and a bad PR towards the team where everyone says it's too much. Because that's what's happened to Greenwood. Whether we agree or disagree, we've all understood that.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, Anthony doesn't have to be found guilty. That's the precedents we've set. So Anthony doesn't have to be found or charged of anything. People just have to feel a way about it because she says she sent pictures and videos to the police.
The thing is with Anthony, the difference between Anthony and Mason Greenwood, we see the pictures and the voice notes in front of our eyes. With Anthony, we don't know yet. The police will keep it.
Because from what I've seen, he sent pictures and videos to the police. If they leak now on social media...
if the Brazilian police leak, well, there you go. Then we've got another situation in our hands. It's a messy one, man. But listen, we'll worry about that another time. Monster, been a pleasure, bro. I'll catch you on tomorrow. Big up, bro, man. Love, man, love. But anyway, people, we've been over an hour. I need to go to the gym. I need to go do a workout. And yeah, man, I just need to enjoy life. What am I stressing about United for? International break. You know what I mean? What's going on, mate? What is going on? It ain't easy. Big up to King Stash for becoming a member and also donating today. Mad donations, mate. Big up to you, my guy. I don't think I've missed any other super chats. Hi, Saeed, check the Brazilian source on Anthony. If it's true, it's 10 times worse than the Greenwood case. The future looks bleak for us. Why are you depressing us, man? Rafi, come on, mate. Why are you depressing us? Nah, these comments are wild. Yeah, I need to wrap up. The comments are getting ugly, and I need to go.